Hey, welcome back to Hawk in the Lens. My name is Hawken, and today is a cause for celebration. I just hit 1,000 subscribers on YouTube towards the beginning of last month. I, of course, along with celebrating, want to share my gratitude to each and every one of you. It means the world to me that so many of you are watching and tuning into my videos and enjoy the content that I share around this incredible hobby of birding. Now the journey doesn't stop here, obviously. I love creating content. I'm gonna keep putting videos out on YouTube. In fact, I have a ton of cool series planned, more ideas that are in the works for this channel, so I hope you're excited for that. I'm looking forward to the next 1,000 joining and the next 1,000, and who knows, maybe someday we'll even reach 100,000. That would be crazy. I probably won't make a video for every single milestone of this nature, but 1,000 subscribers is a special moment on YouTube for any YouTuber, so I wanted to take the time to make this and thank each and every one of you. Again, thank you. It means a lot to me. But all right, let's get into the meat of the video. I am gonna do a Q&A. Now, I posted on all of my other social medias sourcing questions. If you don't follow me on other platforms, the links will be in the description. I have a Facebook page, Instagram, TikTok, and Blue Sky too. Over on Blue Sky, the Bird Zone asked me a couple of different questions. Firstly, what are the largest and smallest by volume flying birds on your list? Now, I don't know specifically the largest, but the smallest is definitely the calliope hummingbird. Now, that bird I saw last year is the smallest hummingbird in North America, and hummingbirds are tiny overall in comparison to other birds. That one's definitely the smallest. The largest flying bird, I would guess by volume is interesting, like maybe sandhill crane, great blue heron, or American white pelican. I'm not sure which one of those would be bigger overall, but probably one of those three, I'd guess, would be the biggest. They also asked me another question: which bird on my list do you find or imagine to be the most delicious? That's certainly an interesting question. I'm not maybe the biggest fan of hunting, but I have had a few friends who are hunters in the past and I've tried some duck, so I'll just say either mallard probably would be one of the most delicious just because I've actually had it before. Next question comes from You Do Not See Me No 3289. What would be a once-in-a-lifetime dream bird that you would love to see? Great question. I have a couple of species on my list that I would love to see someday, and they're all from different continents because I always dream of doing these amazing birdcations to other locations. Laughing kookaburra is up there. I've seen a few at the Tracy Aviary and I'd love to see them actually in the wild and make my way over to Australia. I also would love to get to the rainforest to see a toucan in real life. Again, another bird I've seen at an aviary, but I'd love to see one in the wild. Roberta on YouTube asked me a couple of different questions. First one, what is your time limit when waiting for a skulky bird to get a good position to take a photo? Is it 10 minutes or an hour? Oh, well, that one definitely depends, mainly on if I've ever seen the bird before. If I've never seen this bird and I'm trying to add it to my life list and I want to get a good picture or photo of it, I definitely am much more willing to wait a long time, upwards of maybe like a half an hour or so. But otherwise, I probably don't spend too much time, maybe 5 minutes at most, but the rarer the bird is, the more I'm willing to wait, that's for sure. She also asked what my favorite group of birds is, maybe raptors, waterfowl, or finches. And while I do love a lot of the finch species, I think my favorite group of birds would probably be the woodpecker. It's really cool that you can get some of these woodpeckers to come to your own backyard, like downy woodpeckers. And then when I see other species out in the wild, I'm always like really excited when that big woodpecker flies by. So I'd say the woodpecker family. Another question, where is your favorite place to go birding? I don't actually know if I have an answer to that one yet. I can give you a general location, I guess. At least here in Utah, I really enjoy birding up in the mountains in the higher alpine regions. That's pretty fun. Over in Cache County, I like the Tony Grove area. Here in Salt Lake, Big and Little Cottonwood Canyon, I'd love to explore more. Up by Silver Lake and the Brighton area is a great spot in the summer months. But on a recent trip, I just went to the Rio Grande Valley in South Texas. That probably shoots up the list because of the crazy amount of species you could see there too. And then last question from Roberta, have you ever gotten lost while birding on foot, walking around in Mother Nature? Well, I've definitely never gotten lost. I've taken my fair share of wrong turns before, but I was quickly able to navigate back to where I've been. So no, have not gotten lost yet. Miki 5227, I hope I'm saying that right, asks, what's a country or continent you'd want to explore and bird? Based on some of my answers before, you can probably guess that I'd love to get to Australia. That is really high on my list of travel destinations right now, and it's something I hope to make happen someday. There are just some amazing species out there, and it's a huge country with such a variety of landscapes that I think would be so cool to go and explore the wildlife at. They also asked me what's my biggest pet peeve when birding. They said theirs is fogging on any and all lenses, their binoculars and scopes and stuff. Good question. I think as a YouTube video creator, my answer would probably be sleeping ducks. As I'm always trying to get a really great shot of all these species, ducks just sleep throughout the day. They don't offer always the best views, and it's kind of annoying sometimes when you go to try and film them that they just always have their head tucked away and it's just kind of a blob out in the water, and you don't actually get the beautiful eye colors and the head and the whole shape of the duck when you're trying to create a cool video on YouTube. So yeah, sleeping ducks is probably my answer right now, but I'll have to think about that one more. The secret third thing on YouTube asked me what came first, birding and outdoorsmanship or videography, and how'd I get into them? So outdoors, just loving nature and all that stuff was definitely first. Since I've been young, we've been going on camping trips and backpacking trips. In fact, I was taken on a backpacking trip when I was about 1 year old, and it was apparently miserable. It was a canoeing trip in the backwoods, I believe on the boundary waters between Minnesota and Canada. And I guess the rain was horrible and I was basically just a baby wrapped in a trash bag the whole time. And since that point, I've had many camping trips and backpacking experiences throughout my life. So always been into the outdoors. Birding definitely came much later in life as I started to recognize the amazing diversity in the species of birds. So yeah, outdoors first. And then getting into a little bit of the video creation, I started making some outdoor content on my other YouTube channel, and then I really fell in love with birding last and fired up this channel at the beginning of 2024. And then another question from YouTube from Andy Firth, 1267. They said, as a UK birder and being over 60 years of age, it's great to see you and other young content creators so passionate about the hobby of birding. First of all, thank you. And then they say, does it feel like passion for birds is growing in the US amongst the younger generation? And if so, does that include an ambition to also care for the environment to protect breeding, migration, and wintering areas of habitat for birds and other wildlife? Great channel. Thanks so much. I love that question. And honestly, I think I do see a lot more people getting interested in birding. A ton of people got into it more during COVID and the pandemic, when getting outside was a much more viable option than being around people. People turn to hobbies such as birding. And as I've gotten more into birding recently, I've noticed more people in my generation get more into it as well. I don't have any numbers or statistics on this. I wish I could share some of those things with you. But just from a general gut feeling, it does feel like more people around my age are getting into birding. And I absolutely love that, because birding is for everyone, no matter how old or young you are or what background you come from. That's honestly one of the missions of my channel, is just to expand the hobby of birding to more people and just get more people excited about going out and seeing some amazing birds. Any and all walks of life, we can all enjoy this incredible hobby, and I hope people approach it the same way I do, of trying to share it with everyone. As for the second part of your question about conservation stuff, I am not so sure that all of the younger generation cares about that kind of thing. It's certainly something I care about though, and I'm actually this year going to start volunteering with some work around some conservation projects related to birding. So it's something I do want to promote myself, and I hope other people recognize the importance of conservation of these habitats so we can enjoy birds for many, many years to come. Great, great question. Thank you for leaving it. And then lastly, some of my birding YouTube friends submitted some questions for me too, so I'm going to run through a few of those really quick. Of course, all of their channels will be linked down below in the description, so you can go check them out. They're amazing and doing some amazing birding work. If you like my channel, I think you'd like a lot of theirs too. So Nicholas NW asks, what's your dream bird to see in 2025 that you think there's a chance might be small for you to see? I would love to see a scissor-tailed flycatcher, and there's probably some cooler birds out there to see, but specifically that's the bird on the cover of my favorite game, Wingspan, so it'd be really awesome to add that one to my life list. I don't think we get them out here in this western region at all, but there'll be a few chances where I'll be over in the east, and maybe there's a tiny chance that I'd see a scissor-tailed flycatcher. The Backyard Aviary Adventures asks me, what is your opinion on the positive effects of birding on mental health? I'll put a disclaimer, of course, I'm not an expert on mental health, but my opinion, I think almost any hobby, most hobbies at least, will benefit your mental health. Having something you really enjoy, something you look forward to that's maybe not a part of your normal work and just take care of yourself routines. Having something outside of that, especially birding, where you can really just be healthy, get outside, walk around, I think can do so much good for your mental health. Especially the community aspects of birding too. If you start to meet other birders and maybe go on walks at local nature centers and stuff and just be around people, I really think those can do some great things for your mental health. They also asked, what bird have you seen, probably a rarity, that was the most unlikely to see, where you saw it? The first thing that comes to mind is one of my most recent videos about seeing a mega rare gull right here in Salt Lake. We had the black-headed gull, which I know is a common species to you, Backyard Aviary Adventures. You get those all the time in Europe, but we do not normally get them here in Utah. It was only the second time that bird has been seen here. So yeah, I'll put that video in the description if you're interested in checking that one out, but that's my answer. Nature Time with Luke asks me, if you could photograph, film, observe any extinct species of bird, what would it be and why? Dinosaurs count. That's a funny question. I don't know that much about dinosaurs to be able to pick out one of them. Obviously, like a pterodactyl would be insane, or a triceratops or T-Rex, though I'd be pretty scared if I was photographing a T-Rex, unless it was from a safe location. But an extinct species of bird, man, I mean, there is such a fascination around the ivory-billed woodpecker, and that being my favorite family of birds, I would probably pick that species. I mean, it would be phenomenal to see that one. I've seen the pileated woodpecker before in Wisconsin, though I've never seen an ivory-billed one, obviously. That would be an insane species to photograph. All right, best for last, the Dutch birder. Thank you for submitting some questions. They asked me, what have you learned doing YouTube? Well, there are a ton of skills that I could go through, from video editing to learning how to use a camera to being able to get better at translating the words from my thoughts out onto something that I can actually speak and convey to my audience. So many things, but I think one of the biggest learnings is that I appreciate my creator community, this whole group of bird tubers, more than I would have realized. It's been so fun to be able to just talk back and forth the struggles and like maybe get some advice from each other about all things YouTube, and in particularly birding on YouTube. It's been fun to really try and grow this niche together with them, and there's a ton of awesome creators starting up around YouTube that I really, really love to see. And then they also asked me, I'm gonna skip one but go to the last, what is your 5-year plan and goals for the channel? I have a lot of aspirations and dreams, and it's kind of crazy to think 5 years in the future. I don't do that super often with my YouTube channel, but I of course want to grow this community as large as possible to be able to expand the hobby of birding to more people. And I really, really hope to inspire a lot more people to get into birding. So I hope this channel becomes an avenue for me to expand into other ventures, such as maybe leading birding tours or expeditions to other countries. That would be incredible. Or just simply giving some nature center walks near where I live here in Utah. And I really would love to maybe give talks and speeches and stuff at birding conferences and work with some really cool brands. So yeah, those are just maybe a couple quick ideas here right off the top of my head. But that brings me to the end of the Q&A. Thank you to all those people who submitted questions. Of course, like I mentioned, the YouTubers will be linked down in the description that asked me a question, so go check them out. But again, I want to end with a thank you for 1,000 subscribers. It means a lot. I really appreciate all of you, and I will see you soon in my next one. Happy birding.